we're going to talk about that today. This talk is drawn from a mixture of my life study, my life experiences, downloads from meditation, and offerings from the altar of where two or more are gathered. One such download from meditation recently was, what is my process for manifestation? Do you have a process for manifestation? Do you know exactly what to do when you want to manifest something? I looked at what has my process been? What has happened? What has occurred when I've manifested something, to see if I could identify it. Sometimes I could and sometimes I couldn't. But it caused me to go a lot deeper, because the question is, have I consciously manifested something? And if I did, how did I do it? I'm more interested in our conversation today when there was something that I wanted to accomplish or manifest, and I've been unsuccessful thus far. I started to see if I could identify the reasons, what beliefs I may have about it, and what might have contributed to my lack of success. I noticed that there were places or things where I was stuck, and that things shifted when I was able to get unstuck. But was I consciously able to do that? So, what I believe is that when we want to manifest something, we have to know where we are, because we have to start from where we are, and we have to know where we want to be. And so I began to look at my relationship with money and to try and figure out what I knew about money or what I understood about money. And what I recognized was that very often I'm conflicted. When I'm experiencing lack, I'm in fear, frustrated, um, worried, those kinds of things. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but those kinds of things. And so I recognized that what I was radiating energetically was not going to get me what I wanted to experience. If I'm not in a good place energetically, then I have to shift that, because I won't get to where I want to be. I won't have the experience that I want to have if I'm not in a good place energetically. So, in our teaching, we always use the example of planting a seed when we're talking about manifesting something. And so let's say, for example, I want tomatoes. Okay. So we know that we prepare the soil. We make sure we have our tools. We make sure we have quality seeds. We water our seeds. We give them plant food or fertilizer. And probably more important is anticipating the quality, the experience of the tomatoes. So, for example, we see the red ripe fruit, we feel its juiciness on our tongue, the texture, the smell, the fresh scent of the tomato. We know the taste of it, and know the taste of it depending upon how we're utilizing it. So we know the taste of our tomato in fresh made sauce, or the taste of our tomato in a salad with oil and balsamic vinegar, for example. What we also know is that when we want to grow tomatoes, we don't dig them up. We don't pour dirty water on them. We don't drive our car over it or trample on it, because why? That would destroy it and it would not manifest. But that's what we do when we're in doubt and fear and all of those other uh, emotions and ideas that are not in alignment with what we want to create. And so I want to give another example because this is so important to manifesting. So, what happens when we're in love? If you're not in love right now, just bear with me and try and remember. So, when we meet someone and we have that sparked interest, we want to get to know them. We want to spend time with them. We want to learn about them. We want to become familiar with them. And we do. We spend hours talking and sharing. And at some point, we open our hearts and we become vulnerable. And we have these just wonderful experiences and beautiful feelings. And I'm not saying that sometimes there maybe aren't challenges, but if they're too big, then we don't stay in love. And so when we develop and grow a relationship, we develop a deep level of intimacy where we really get to know someone and open ourselves. And I think that this is a perfect example for our mental equivalent for what we want, and the understanding that we have to become one with whatever it is we want to experience. And we do that by doing our inner work. And so if I want wealth, if I want financial freedom, then I have to really get to know what that is. I have to become intimate with it. I have to know what it feels like to be wealthy, what it looks like. I have to know how who I am in it. And I have to know that I have it. I have to know and believe and understand that it's possible. And I have to have evidence for it in my spirit. I have to have at least an experience of it in the inner realms, in my awareness. Because what we know, what we understand is that we have to become that thing even before it manifests. You know, the Bible talks about when God created man twice. And I'm very clear that it was the inner creation, the creation in the invisible, all of those expressions, experiences, qualities, and attributes, the knowing, the tasting, the feeling, the smelling, the understanding, the clarity, having it internally. You know, it's one of the things that we very often focus on, being able to vision it, to see it, to experience it. So in order to manifest wealth, we have to feel wealthy. We have to know that we're wealthy. We have to experience it. We have to know that wealth is available to us, you know. And that's one of the reasons that we often talk about being in gratitude for what we do have. And the key component to this is source, going to source, understanding spirit, that there is no lack or limitation in spirit. It is infinite abundance, it's unlimited, and we need to collect evidence for it. So even if you're not I'm not a multi-millionaire, I have evidence of my wealth and the availability of wealth because I'm one with spirit. Spirit is everywhere, evenly present. Rockefeller is not any more one with spirit than I am. And so I have to know what my birthright is. And I see evidence of this abundance all over the place. And by becoming intimately familiar with it and building the ideas and the thoughts and the feelings, I'm creating the mental equivalent for it. And so I'm creating it internally first, and that has to be done. You have to have the soil, plant the seed, water it, fertilize it. All that's invisible, that's below the ground. We don't see that. All of that is invisible. And then as we are doing that and experiencing that, then the last thing is actually the physical manifestation and the form of that. And so if I am wanting to manifest something, if I am wanting to experience wealth, then what I want to first do is take inventory. That's step one. Where am I with this? What do I believe about this? Do I believe that I have this, or that I can have this? Do I know that? Do I feel it? So you've heard me say before, I want a beach house, so when I'm sitting reading, or when I'm having breakfast, I see the water. I feel the breeze on my face. And this is a really good example, because I have been very conflicted about this, because the truth is, in this moment, I don't see how I can create that. And what I recognize is I am looking to form to create that. And we don't create anything that way. You see, I'm saying, I don't have $500,000 in the bank to buy the house that I want. You see, I'm looking to form, okay, instead of looking to spirit. And so it is, I believe, critical to assess where we are, so we know the work that we have to do, okay, to move ourselves into the place of being in alignment with wealth, or with anything else that it is that we want to experience. And so first we have to know where we are, okay, and then always go to spirit, go to source. So I think it's critical when I am not in alignment with spirit, when I'm feeling separate, when I'm not aware of the truth of who I am as a divine expression of spirit. It's critical to connect. And for me, the most powerful way to do that is in meditation. If you're not a meditator, if you're not quite there yet, you're meditating, but you're like, what the hell is she talking about? I don't experience this deep connection. Then go to something you do experience it with. Sometimes it's as simple as, if we're in fear or doubt, putting on some music that will help shift our energy. Calling up a friend that you feel really great every time you talk to, a friend that lights you up, or going to the beach, and walking along the beach and listening to the ocean and looking at the sky. And one of my favorite things to do when I'm at the beach is picking up a handful of sand and counting the grains until I get tired. Because there's no way you're going to count them all. So for me, that's just collecting evidence. I don't get through a handful, shucks. It's a way, though, of collecting the evidence and putting ourselves in tune with the reality of the infinite abundance of spirit. And when we connect, when I connect, now I just recently went through another level of awareness because it's something I have been aware of before, but just recently went through another level of awareness with my meditation. And so um, I have to say, uh, and I think it's appropriate. I'm taking the awareness class with Bill Swanowski, and our focus is on being aware of the presence. Okay. And so in meditation, again, I was aware of it before, but things came together differently. In meditation, I I realize that when I go deep in meditation, my thoughts slow down almost to a stop. My breath almost stops. I, I, I am experiencing peace, or maybe I'm experiencing love. I lose awareness of my body, and it's just, I have no other word for it than being. It's just beingness. And what I know from experience is when I'm able to go to that place, I connect with spirit. There are no words. I say that spirit's language is not words. I can't tell you exactly what it is. It's energy, okay? But it's not words and the transmission of thoughts and that kind of thing. But what I know, what I've experienced is when I come out of that, then I get downloads. Sometimes I get downloads when I'm in it, but that comes in the form of feelings or thoughts. But I get downloads, okay? And it may come then, it may come a few hours, a few days, it may come weeks later, actually. And you've heard me talk about the synchronicity that I experience, that I am just so in awe of, that I love, where, the dots just connect. And then I know that spirit. That's one of the things also that I use as evidence of spirit when I want to manifest. And so I just want to tie it together and give you like a real tangible example. And so what I recognize is that I was trying to figure out how I could do this myself, get this beach house for myself. Okay. And I recognized that I was looking to form and not really looking to spirit. I was seeing lack and limitation instead of seeing the possibility. And even though I was doing the work of creating this experience inside, I had this doubt and this fear and these ideas of lack that were interfering. And it was huge for me to recognize this, because in this last few meditations where I had these awarenesses, I got a clarity about spirit expressing through us. So, in that beingness, in that presence, it's like, okay, I got the energy, I got the beingness, I got the presence, but there's nothing. And in the teaching, in the awareness class, there's the idea and the conversation about no thing versus things. Okay. And it is out of this nothingness, we say in the teaching, that things are created. But what happens is that we provide it with the mental equivalent. And that mental equivalent can have doubt, it can have fear, because it's not going to manifest. It has to be that knowing, that certainty, that experience, and it has to be real within us. And so I want to share, to recommend some steps that we might be able to utilize. You take it or leave it, change it, add to it, do whatever you want to do with it. But the first thing is to start from where you are. Be clear on where you are without any concern of it interfering. Okay? Because once you know where you are, then you know the work that you have to do. And it is very important connecting with spirit, to be in that place of just being with spirit. Because when we are, however you do it, through meditation, through a walk on the beach, through sitting quiet in your favorite chair, however you do it, when you travel to that place of just being and just experience the presence, then you connect. And the next step I want to recommend is to open your heart and share your heart's desire. And that is for me sitting in my chair on the beach or on my porch, looking at the ocean, smelling the sea air, hearing the waves, all of these things, the experience that I want. And so when I say share your heart, I mean be in that experience, that expression of what it is that you want. And if it is creating wealth, it's being in that experience, that expression of there's no lack, I have plenty, I can do whatever I want to do, I can share whatever I want to share, because I have the resources, I have the ability to just go any place, do anything with anybody, anytime I want to, you know, but just to be that. And I cannot stress enough also to treat or to affirm. If by chance you're a person that hasn't really developed the skill of treatment yet, then just affirm. Just affirm it. Just claim it for yourself as if it is, as if it already exists, because you are creating it in the inner realm first. You're planting that seed in the soil, and you're watering it, and you're fertilizing it, and you're knowing it, and you're tasting it, and you're feeling it, you're experiencing it. And then listen, listen and follow any guidance that you get. We always say also that you have to treat and move your feet. And so, whatever comes to you that you can do towards your experience of wealth, do what feels right for you. Anything you can do to move towards your heart's desire. So, I just like to give examples. So, as an example, catch yourself, notice yourself when you're receiving money, or when you're spending money, or when you receive a gift from someone. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And shift it, change it, remind yourself of the presence, and that there is infinite, unlimited abundance, and it's available to you because you're part of the oneness. So do your inner work. Do your inner work. And so my goal, my objective for this talk today was to have a real honest discussion about the fact that sometimes we manifest what we want and sometimes we don't. That we may have a level of wealth and want more, or we may just want to experience the freedom, the security of having enough. And this again is something that I have gone back and forth with in my life. I have been so blessed. I've done so many wonderful things. I've had so many opportunities. And then I still have had moments where I experience lack or limitation. And, you know, Reverend Joel said last week, one of the things that happens is that we work on something for a while and when we drop it, and then we drop it. So, I know I'm guilty of that. I know I'm guilty of that. I wanted to just have an honest discussion about it and offer, share some of my experiences and maybe some ideas that might assist you with manifesting wealth or anything else you want to manifest. When we feel separate from spirit, when we forget, when we're not aligned with spirit, when we go into lack because we're looking at the wrong things, that is what creates the conundrum. We must keep ourselves connected to spirit, to the presence, to the source. And then we have the ability, when we do our inner work, to manifest whatever we choose. And so I would like to take this into treatment. So, what I know is that there is a divine presence, that it is all powerful, all knowing, and everywhere evenly present. For me personally, I experience it in nature, in the rustling of the trees, in the sound of the ocean, in the smell of the ocean, in the sweet smell of flowers, in the sweet, gentle sound of rain. I experience it in love. I experience it in laughter and joy and the excitement and goodness of being with people that I love and that love me. I experience it in so many different ways. I know that this source, this presence, this power that I call God expresses in and through and as all of life. What that means is that it is available to us in all of life. We can look past the appearance, past the form, and know and see that it is a divine expression of spirit. That in back of it, no matter the condition, in back of it, spirit is available to each one of us. And so what I affirm is divine guidance. What I affirm is a deep understanding and clarity of the presence operating within my life. I affirm that there is no lack or limitation of any kind. There is only the infinite, unlimited creativity of the presence that is ongoing, that is ever expressing. I affirm that when I quiet and connect with spirit, the world opens to me. The presence provides me with everything that I require to live the life that I choose to live. I affirm that anything that I choose, anything that I choose, that I align myself with, is available to me. The divine presence that I call God, Creator Spirit, is expressing continuously, always in me, as me, through me, and all of life. And so what I know is that this presence says yes to whatever it is that I am thinking, feeling, knowing, doing. And so what I choose is to know my highest and best. What I choose is to express my highest and best. What I choose is to allow myself to grow and deepen within my awareness of the presence. And as I speak this, I speak it for each one. It is the truth for each one. There is no separation. There is no duality. There is only the divine presence expressing. And so I affirm the creative expression for whatever it is that each one chooses, knowing that it is God. And so I simply release this word into the law, knowing that it is the truth and it is God that makes it so. And so it is.